Alright, welcome back. So, if you've been following this little series that's been going on with VS Code, you will have found that we have VS Code installed, where we went to Google, we downloaded VS Code, we downloaded Git, so that way we can use Git and GitHub services with VS Code, and now I'm going to show you how to use GitHub repos just to make your life a lot easier. So first things first, we will go to GitHub. GitHub is basically like a giant OneDrive, but for code. You can get code, push it to GitHub, and then your partner, teammate, coworker, whatever can go on GitHub, pull your code, make changes, push it back up there, just back and forth, make it really easy to collaborate, or just to move your code from one device to another. Obviously, you'll have to have a GitHub profile in order to use this service, but since I already have one, I can't exactly make a video on doing that. So go ahead, go make yourself a GitHub profile, and then come back to this video when you've done that. On a profile, you can make what's called a repository, which is where all your code is saved in separate folders, separate files, easy for you to find and easy for someone else to find if they want to use said repository. I will use this one as an example, one that me and my friend David made for a class. It's a diabetic monitor. It'll tell you, alright, this is who made the project, slash the repository name, and whether it's public or private. If it's private, you won't be able to see it. Only the person who created it will be able to see it. So it should say public. Most of what you'll care about is right here in this little section. This will show all the files and all the folders for the project. And then usually down below will be a giant README that kind of tells you, hey, this is who made the project, this is what it does, this is how you install it, blah, blah, blah. By all means, if you want to check out this project, see how it works, feel free. But yeah, so great. We found the repo that we want to download, we want to use. Let's get VS Code ready. Now, this is the way I've learned to do it over the years. I guarantee that there are different ways you can do it, and depending on who you ask, there might be better ways that you can do this. But this is the process I learned. For me, it works really well. So I'm not saying that this is the only way to do it, but this is my way of doing it, and that's the way I'm going to show. So first off, you'll go up here to the top left to Terminal and New Terminal. This is basically a command window integrated into VS Code. Unfortunately, we want to do stuff with Git and not PowerShell, so we'll click this little down arrow here and launch a Git bash terminal. Lovely. Just to double, triple check, we can say Git version, and it'll tell us what version of Git we are running, just to double check that it is installed. I believe you can also say Git dash dash version, and it will do the same thing. Yes. Either way is fine. So, Git is ready to go. We will go back here to GitHub to the repository we want. We'll click on this green code button. In local, we want to clone it. I don't know if it will work with SSH, but we'll go ahead and give it a try. Click this little button here to copy it to clipboard. Back to VS Code, and we will say git clone, and then paste in the link. Enter. Okay. With SSH, it's a lot more. It's much more secure. You have to set up like SSH access keys with different computers, with different reading and writing privileges. It's kind of a big hassle. But if you're just looking to download code and make your own local changes to it and not push it back up to GitHub, then HTTPS will be the much simpler way to do it. So we'll go ahead and copy that to clipboard. I wasn't sure if I had this desktop set up with SSH keys or not, but I guess I don't. Okay, so then we will git clone the HTTP link. Then enter. It's cloning into a diabetic monitor folder, doing a bunch of GitHub stuff, resolving any issues, and then it's done. So now, like Linux, we can type ls to list out the folders. And we can see ECE 434 diabetic monitor, ECE 434 diabetic monitor. So we know it was moved in successfully. Again, the git bash is a lot like Linux, so you can change directory into your newly downloaded project. You'll say we're now in this GitHub directory, which is our main directory, and you can ls again to show you the different files that are in this directory. In theory, from this little terminal, you can go in and edit these code files. So I believe if you, let's see, would it be, will it accept nano? Maybe. Yeah. So in theory, you can nano into these different coding files and edit them like this. Not as easy, not as convenient. That's the whole reason we downloaded VS Code. For now, we are done with this terminal, but we'll go ahead and leave it here. We can then go up here to Explorer and Open Folder. When we open the folder, it should show us any projects that we've downloaded here. So we are in the diabetic monitor. We'll click that and then select folder. It'll swap windows to now welcome diabetic monitor VS Code. Keep the welcome screen at, you don't have to show welcome on startup, it's all personal preference. But then now we will show ECU diabetic monitor, and here's all the different files for said project. So yeah, that's good. Install recommended extensions for Python. You don't have to do this. It's highly recommended if you're going to be coding in Python. If not, I wouldn't waste your time. And then there you go. There's Python files. It'll handle SH files. It will handle, in a way, CSV or Excel files. VS Code can handle a lot of different formats. It can handle Python, C++, C, Java, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML. In essence, really anything you can think of, VS Code can handle it pretty well with the right extensions installed. So, okay, so let's say we did all that, lovely. Oh, we just heard from our friend that the code got updated. Well, if we go to terminal and reopen our git bash terminal, just like we did before, git bash, we are in, let's say we're in the basic directory, we will want to cd into our project folder again, move directories, there we go. We can go ahead and list just to double check that we're in the right place. And then we heard that there was an update to the code. The original creator has changed it in some fashion. Well, we want to get the most up-to-date version, so we will type in a git pull. We are pulling the new code down from GitHub. Now, it shouldn't have anything. It should say already up to date because we haven't changed anything about this project. But if things were changed from the original author, it would type in text, show you stuff just like when we originally cloned the repository, and then all of these files would just update automatically to the newest changes. I'm not sure. I might be able to make a real quick change to something real small, real simple. Yeah, commit changes through GitHub, that's fine. Okay, so now if we go back to the page, we can see that it was updated just now. Updated just now. Let's see, is the README? Yeah, updated just now, lovely. So if we go back to VS Code, and once again, we know there's a change, so we type in git pull. It'll find that change. It'll see that there's a change on GitHub. It will pull it in, unpack it, blah, 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 make the change. So now if we go into the README, we can see that it says and instead of a comma. And it'll update it all automatically. So when it comes to making changes with GitHub or working with a teammate, working with a partner, whatever, um, this is really a fantastic service to use. Um, Fairly easy to use, fairly simple, straightforward. It gets a little more complicated if you want to make your own changes up to the repository, just with SSH keys and security and whatnot. Um, but we might cover that in a future video, so stay tuned.